Hi guys, it's Katie. For dinner tonight, I'm going to be making a curried cauliflower grain bowl. This is something I whipped up a few weeks ago and it was a big hit with everybody. So I'm going to make it again tonight and I'll bring you along to show you how I build this. It's not really a recipe, it's more of like just a suggestion for toppings for your grain bowl. A grain bowl is just cooked grains and you put whatever toppings that you want. When you're building your grain bowl, it's kind of important that you're hitting specific flavors and textures so you have a nice balanced, well-rounded dish, but really you can put whatever you want on there. Sometimes that's nice because it makes it really versatile. Sometimes it makes it a little bit overwhelming. So this is just kind of a suggestion for a combination of ingredients to put on your grain bowl. And like I said, it turned out really, really good and we really enjoyed it. So I'm going to start with a little prep work. I'll show you what I got going on here. I'm making a dressing and you can make this, you know, up to a couple days ahead. Salad dressings always taste better if you make them ahead. This is an orange cumin vinaigrette. It's a recipe from Food Wishes from Chef John, and I will link it down below so you can see exactly what the recipe calls for. I'm just going to eyeball it. But it has orange juice and orange zest, so it has a really nice, strong orange flavor. And it also has some cumin, which I think ties in nicely with the other ingredients that I'm going to add to my vegetables. And then it has like oil and vinegar and Dijon mustard just to make it into a vinaigrette. So I got Dijon mustard. I'm going to put some orange zest. I'm using a navel orange, but I've made this with clementines if that's what you have on hand, and it worked fine. In fact, there's probably going to be the amount of juice that you need is probably more economical to use a clementine, but that's alright. This won't go to waste. We'll eat it up. Right, so there's the orange zest, some orange juice. Alright, I'm also going to put a little bit of cumin. And some rice wine vinegar. You could also use like red wine vinegar. Last time I made this I used apple cider vinegar and it was still delicious. And then the recipe calls for olive oil. I didn't like it with olive oil. I don't really like olive oil. It's a little bitter for me, especially because the cumin's a little bitter. So I'm using a more neutral oil, but whatever oil that you like or that you normally make salad dressing with would be good. And then when I made this before, because the olive oil was a little bitter, I added some maple syrup and it was really good that way. So let's see if I'll add it to this one now. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit of maple syrup. But that would be optional if you want to add it. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the refrigerator and just give it a whisk right before I'm ready to use it. Alright, next I'm going to prep some of the veggies, and you could do this a day or so ahead as well. I'm using broccoli and cauliflower, but there's a lot of different options that you could use. I actually just bought some Brussels sprouts that I thought would be really good. Asparagus would be really good. Carrots, I mean pretty much anything that you like roasted would be good. But if you've never tried roasted broccoli or roasted cauliflower before, they're really good. The roasted cauliflower with the curry powder, which is how I'm going to do it, is kind of a classic flavor combination. So I'm just cutting this broccoli into sort of bite-sized florets. You could also just get the, the pre-cut stuff. Save a step here. I also have a cauliflower. I'm just going to do the same thing. Just clean it up and cut them into small bite-sized florets. Alright, so I got my broccoli and my cauliflower. I have oil and salt and pepper on the broccoli. And that's all I'm going to put on the broccoli. I'm going to put a little garlic. I am going to put a little garlic powder. And I'm going to put these over here on this sheet pan and get them ready to roast. If you wanted, you could just, you know, cut up the vegetables and have them like this, ready to go. And then when you're ready to make your meal, lay them out. And the trick to roasting vegetables is don't be scared of oil. You are eating vegetables after all. I mean, don't go crazy, but don't go too skimpy. And you want to have a single layer, and you want to have them not too crowded if you can help it. So I am flattening them out. And I'm just going to set this to the side because I'm not actually going to put these in the oven for a little bit. But that is what that looks like. I'm going to use the same bowl for my cauliflower. I'm going to put oil. I'm using the avocado oil again, but whatever oil you like. And then I'm going to put a little salt and pepper. And I'm going to put a little bit of curry powder. This is a homemade curry powder, but you can use store-bought. The only reason I made this homemade is because I didn't have curry powder, but I had all the ingredients that are in curry powder. So I'm just going to put a little bit on here. Mine's kind of spicy. You can get mild too. Mine's a little spicy, so that's why I'm just putting a little bit. But on the bright white cauliflower, it shows up really nice, and the flavor really permeates. But if you were not feeding children like I am, or you like it extra spicy, or if you had a mild curry powder, you could put it on the broccoli too. I just choose to put it only on the cauliflower because I think it makes it the prettiest. And I don't want to overwhelm the whole dish with the spice. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more. And then as these cook and sort of brown up and caramelize in the oven, the bright yellow flavor gets even more intense. At this point you could taste it and see how you like the curry flavor. I probably use 2 teaspoons for this head of, like sort of medium head of cauliflower. I'm going to lay that out on this other pan here. And this pan doesn't have a lip around the edge. It's just a regular cookie sheet, so hopefully this isn't a disaster. But again, you want to kind of spread that out and get a single thickness. Alright. Those are ready to go in the oven. Okay, next I'm going to toast some seeds. I'm using these raw pumpkin seeds, and I'm just going to toast them in a dry skillet. You could also toast them in the oven while you're roasting your vegetables, but I'm just going to do it this way. I'm going to use a skillet anyway to caramelize some onions. So I'm probably just going to put, I'll get a couple handfuls in. And when you're making your green bowl, it's nice to have something that's got a little bit of crunch to it. So seeds and nuts is a really good thing to add. Also helps give, you know, a little extra protein and some good fats, so it's nice to add. And I have it set at sort of like a medium high. I'm just going to make sure that those sort of stay moving so that they don't, you know, burn. And I just do this until you can start smelling something that smells like toasted nuts, toasted seeds. That's when they're usually done. You can hear they're kind of sizzling, and they can sometimes kind of pop. So be careful because they'll come flying at you and they're really hot. So if they come flying at you, just get out of their way. Don't try to like pick it up, you know, off the stove and put it back in the pan because they'll be really hot. That just took a few minutes. I'm just going to transfer them to heat-proof dish here. If you're doing these ahead, make sure you seal them up airtight so they don't get stale. Ooh, they're sizzling. Can you hear that? And they smell really good. Okay, so next I'm going to use that skillet again, and I'm going to cut up some red onion and do sort of a caramelized red onion. You could do other kinds of onions too, but this is what I had on hand, and they gave a great color, especially against the yellow of the curried cauliflower. And I think they might be a little sweeter. Don't quote me on that. I'm not an onion expert. I was originally thinking that pickled red onions would be really good in this, because when you're making a green bowl, it is nice to have something a little bright, something acidic, but I didn't have time to make pickled onions, so I just sauteed them, and they were really good. The sweetness really goes well with the bitterness of the curry powder, the turmeric and the curry powder. So I'm just going to do it this way again, but I think pickled onions would be good as well, or some kind of pickled or fermented vegetable. And last time I made this, it was one of our favorite parts, so I'm going to make sure we have plenty. Okay, so my skillet is still pretty hot. I don't want them to cook too fast, so turn the heat on the burner down a little bit. Put a little bit of oil. Just let these saute. They're not really going to caramelize. Just get them nice and soft and sweet. Put just a little salt to help them start to sweat a little bit. I'm also, on this other burner, going to get my quinoa ready. I'm not going to turn it on yet. That way it's all measured out. And it'll be all ready to turn on when I am ready to put the vegetables in. The amount of time that the vegetables take to roast is about how long the quinoa needs to cook. So I do 2 cups of dry for my family of 4 plus leftovers. 4 cups of water I'll just put over here with it. Alright, we're getting a little bit closer to dinner time, so I'm going to go ahead and cook the quinoa. And you cook this similar to rice. You just bring it up to a boil, back it down to a simmer, and simmer it till it's tender. So turn the oven on to 400, and then we'll put the vegetables in. Alright, here is everything I have to build my green bowls. So I will get one made up and show you what it looks like. Alright, that's going to do it for dinner tonight. Hopefully you liked the video. If you did, give my video a thumbs up. If you tried, I'd like to hear how you liked it. Leave me some comments down below. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye!